A lesson in modern warfare. The India-Pakistan conflict, May 6 to 10th, 2025. It began with a quiet explosion, not one of sound, but of consequence. On April 22, 2025, the calm of Kashmir's Pahalgam Valley was shattered. 26 tourists killed in a sudden, brutal gun attack. India's response was immediate. Pakistan is behind it. But this time, Islamabad didn't just reject the accusation, it flipped the script. Islamabad dismissed the charge, that calling it a false flag, and offered to open its territory for a UN-supervised international inquiry. No one took the offer. The gears of war began to turn. And then, May 7th arrived. In the darkest hours of the night, India struck. They called it Operation Sindoor, a coordinated salvo of BrahMos cruise missiles fired from launchers in Jammu, Pathankot, and Ganganagar. The targets, India said, were 9 locations across the line of control and international border of alleged terror training camps in Pakistan, administered Kashmir and Punjab. The operation employed a combination of advanced weaponry, including air-launched Scalp missiles and ASM Hammer glide bombs deployed from Rafale F-3R fighter jets. Ground-launched BrahMos cruise missiles and Sky Striker, a fully autonomous loitering munition or a kamikaze drone, were also used. India had launched Rafales and Su-30 MKIs, possibly to probe Pakistani airspace or shadow their strike packages. Pakistan scrambled its J-10Cs, armed with PL-15E missiles, and launched a counter-air mission the same night. The air war began before the smoke had even settled. According to CNN, 125 fighter jets took part in the air battle, which lasted more than an hour. Neither side left its airspace. In some places, they exchanged missiles at a distance of more than 160 kilometers. What followed, Pakistan would later describe as the first true AI-assisted kill in South Asian history. They claimed to have downed 3 Rafale F-3Rs, Su-30 MKI, and targeted a Netra AWAC. The PL-15E used was not just long-range. It was guided by a system of AI-fused radar networks and delivered what Pakistani sources called a silent kill, on alert. India refused to acknowledge any aircraft loss, but after that night, the Indian Air Force was grounded. Following reports of Indian Rafale jets being downed during the conflict, Dassault Aviation, the French manufacturer of the Rafale, experienced a notable decline in its stock value. By May 9th, the company's shares had dropped by approximately 3.31%. This decline was attributed to investor concerns over the Rafale's performance in the conflict, despite Dahl's robust order book and strong financial performance in 2024. Conversely, Chinese defense companies saw a surge in their stock prices due to the reported success of their military equipment used by Pakistan. Avik Chengdu Aircraft Co., Ltd., the manufacturer of the J-10C fighter jet, witnessed a 40% increase in its stock value over 5 days following the conflict. Similarly, Zhuzhou Hongda Electronics Corp. Ltd., the producer of the PL-15E missile, experienced a significant rise in its stock price. Let's analyze how was it possible for Pakistan Air Force to down the Indian Rafale fighters acquired from France. Several factors contributed to the air superiority of Pakistan. Number 1. PL-15E's advanced capabilities. The PL-15E is a beyond visual range air-to-air missile developed by China, featuring Active Electronically Scanned Array (AESA) radar seeker, which provides high resistance to jamming and enables the missile to track targets with precision. Dual-pulse solid rocket motor, which allows the missile to maintain high speeds up to Mach 5 and extend its range, having a range of approximately 160 kilometers. Data link capability, which enables mid-course updates from the launch aircraft or airborne early warning systems, allowing for dynamic targeting. These features make the PL-15E a formidable weapon in beyond visual range combat scenarios. Number 2. Rafale's detection limitations. Despite the Rafale's advanced Thales RBE-2 ESA radar and Spectra electronic warfare suite, several factors contributed to its challenges in detecting and countering the PL-15E. Low probability of intercept (LPI) radar emissions. The PL-15E's ESA radar seeker emits signals that are difficult to detect, reducing the likelihood of early warning. Electronic countermeasures. Pakistan's use of electronic warfare tactics, including jamming and deceptive signals, likely degraded the Rafale's situational awareness. Engagement range. The PL-15E's range allowed Pakistani fighters to launch missiles from distances beyond the Rafale's detection and engagement envelope. Challenges in Rafale's counterattack. The Rafale's inability to effectively retaliate can be attributed to lack of target acquisition. Without detecting the incoming threat or the launch platform, the Rafale could not lock onto targets to launch its own missiles. Electronic warfare disruption. Jamming and other electronic countermeasures may have interfered with the Rafale's radar and communication systems, hindering missile guidance and coordination. Tactical positioning. Pakistani fighters may have utilized tactics that kept them outside the Rafale's effective engagement range while remaining within their own missiles' optimal launch parameters. These factors combined to create a scenario where the Rafale was at a significant disadvantage, unable to detect or effectively respond to the threats posed by the PL-15E missiles. Pakistani cross-border artillery shelling and small arms firing increased following the Indian attacks, including in various regions of the Indian-administered Kashmir. The next day, 8/20/25, saw drone warfare for the first time in the South Asian region. India deployed Israeli Harop loitering munitions, drones designed to circle silently above targets, then plunge into radar emissions like digital kamikazes. Their targets: Pakistani surveillance radars in Sialkot, Mirpur, and Kotli. But Pakistan had its own arsenal: Shahpar-2 drones, fitted with EO sensors and jamming payloads, Turkish Bayraktars, purchased quietly years earlier, and new FPV drones, fast, small, and expendable. In some places, the drones clashed mid-air. In others, they hunted each other, AI fighting AI. It was the region's first true drone war. On the 9th of May, Pakistan Army claimed neutralizing 77 Indian drones since 6th of May. The conflict escalated on the 10th of May. India launched attacks on Pakistan's air bases. These were said to have been precision attacks on identified military targets. At 3:30 a.m., Pakistan acknowledged attacks on 3 air bases: Nurkan, Rafiki, and Murid, using BrahMos cruise missiles. Pakistan claimed that the majority of the missiles were intercepted. The Nurkan airbase in Rawalpindi was hit. Shortly after the Indian missile strikes, Pakistan launched a retaliatory operation, codenamed Operation Bunyan un Marsus. It struck 26 military targets, including 15 air bases, causing major damage. Pakistan claimed it had struck a crown jewel, an Indian S-400 Triumph battery stationed at Adampur airbase near Jalandhar, Punjab. They said a JF-17 Block 3, under heavy EW cover, had fired a Rod-2 cruise missile from standoff range. The missile flew low, masked by terrain and radar jamming. Its target, the S-400's radar truck and command station. ISPR released black and white footage showing an explosion. India responded by broadcasting images of the S-400 launcher, intact and undamaged, but no radar vehicles were shown. No date stamps either. Satellite analysts noted heat anomalies and debris signatures near the claimed site, not enough to confirm destruction, but too specific to dismiss. But the S-400 wasn't the only target. Pakistan launched a cyber attack as a part of the operation, effectively hacking 70% of the Indian electric grid and Indian military satellites in addition to government websites. Pakistan claimed it had struck a BrahMos missile storage facility near Bass, another depot near Nagrota, Jammu, and a brigade headquarters in Samba, allegedly with Fateh-2 guided rockets. Footage was released: thermal flashes, craters, columns of smoke. India rejected the claims, calling them fabricated propaganda. But independent OSINT analysts later confirmed damage consistent with indirect fire on at least 2 sites. The war was evolving. It was now about who could control perception as much as terrain. A ceasefire was achieved around midday on Saturday, 10th of May, with the intervention of the United States. The U.S. grew concerned with the possibility of the conflict turning nuclear, and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio started making calls from 4PKT. He spoke to Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir, National Security Advisor Asim Malikan, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Vice President J.D. Vance was in touch with the Indian authorities, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Interventions were also made by Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, and the UK. The Indian and Pakistani heads of military operations spoke on phone at 2:30 p.m. for the first time since the beginning of the conflict. Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif stated that Trump had played a pivotal and paramount role in facilitating the truce, along with representatives of Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, the UK, UN, and China, while India maintained that the ceasefire was brokered bilaterally. This stance by the Indian authorities was probably taken to keep the Kashmir issue, the root cause of the conflict, from being internationalized. Thanking the heads of India and Pakistan, President Trump vowed to enhance trade substantially with both nations. So why did the war stop? India had struck first, but after May 6th, it never used the Air Force again. It relied on missiles. It stayed at range. Had it suffered more losses than admitted? Was the S-400 really blinded? Was the BrahMos depot hit? The silence around these questions was louder than any denial. For Pakistan, the motivation was clear. It doesn't seek war. Its military doctrine is defensive. The goal was to respond proportionally, demonstrate capability, and then disengage. General Asim Munir, the man leading Pakistan's military response, was promoted to field marshal days later. For Pakistan, the message was clear. Deterrence had worked. When the smoke cleared, each side claimed victory. India said it had struck terror camps without losing soldiers. Pakistan said it had shot down jets, destroyed high-value targets, and held its ground. But victory is just a word. The battlefield tells a different story. This war was different. No tank battles, no infantry pushes, no deep incursions. This was about algorithms, electronic deception, loitering munitions, and precision fires. It was war by proxy, not of men, but of machines. A war where AI managed fire control, satellites relayed live updates, drones fought each other over the line of control, and every move played out in public, in video clips, thermal feeds, and press briefings. This was a warning to both nations, to the region, and to the world. Because in just 4 days, a local conflict flirted with something much larger, and the only thing more dangerous than a modern war is not knowing when to stop it.